71 Chapter 71 You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Red Team's chat channel, the atmosphere was a little dignified. Even the strongest people wanted to drive the atmosphere and make everyone work harder, but there was not much response. After the previous failure, everyone's mood was greatly damaged, especially Toby in number 7274 Green, Hand Village. He hadn't woken up from a coma until now. In the end, these strongest warriors had no choice but to announce helplessly that they were looking for magical beasts to hunt respectively. They must save 1,000 points ahead of the blue team. Only in this way could they recover their losses. Mr. Dick, although I appreciate your courage, I think it's not safe for us to fight against 12 green, hand villages with only 2 green, hand villages. I think it's still risky. Sphinx said to Dick on the chat channel. Mr. Sphinx, you don't have to worry at all. Although we have such doubts before, after the gambling, we absolutely trust Mr. Dick now. Mr. Sphinx, do you know how many points Dick got last time? A total of 1,000 points, and only Dick got more than 600 points. Yes, that was a miracle. I will never believe that someone can kill so many magical beasts at one time in my life. Hearing the people's answers, Sphinx was a little stunned. He had reached LV19, but he couldn't get 600 points in less than one day. Dick was only LVL17, which made him even more surprised. Oh, my friend, are they telling the truth? Did you really get 600 points in the last round of the game? Mr. Sphinx, to be exact, it was not 600 points, but 720 points. Because I haven't reached 800 points, I haven't received the third mysterious reward for the time being. Dick replied with a shrug. Sphinx couldn't help but scream. He secretly decided that he couldn't be against this Dick. He didn't want to make such a powerful enemy for himself and his green, hand village. Oh my God! Mr. Dick, how much more shock can you bring to me? In that case, we will win this round of gambling. Dick replied confidently with a smiling face emoji. Of course. They are just some contemptible scoundrels. If we don't teach them a lesson, they will really think that they are the ruler of the world. Mr. Sphinx, let's win together. Dick hung up. At this time, the countdown of the group gambling between the two teams just came to an end. He figured out the direction and ran towards the core area of the silent grassland without looking back. There were not only a large number of silent demonic ants waiting for him to hunt but also his goal of this trip. The Tiger King. The closer he got to the core area, the quieter the world became. He could see the wind blowing leaves and flowers, but he couldn't hear anything. There were neither insects nor birds singing. It seemed that all life had been killed in this silence. This is really a silent world. Any living creature that dares to make a sound here must have been devoured by the silent demonic ants. Dick murmured to himself. He raised his head and looked at the huge hill in front of him. He could feel the low rumbling of the hill. Although it was silent, it definitely made people tremble with fear in this silent grassland. The message from the soil told him that this was the nest of the silent demonic ants. Even after he had killed most of them, the number of the silent demonic ants was still huge. Moreover, after he won the gambling, the number of ants had increased by 70%. Dick slowly stepped forward. With the moonlight machete pointing at the front, he waved 7 or 8 wind blades in a flash. The harsh wind whizzed, and the blades cut the outer wall of the hill. This hill looked huge, but in fact, it was only an empty shell. The ants lived there and connected the ground and the underground into one as their nest. The blade cut the hill, and countless silent demonic ants surged out in an instant. In addition to the ordinary ones that had been killed by Dick before, there were hundreds of larger ones that opened their wings and flew towards Dick. These huge silent demonic ants played the roles of worker ants in the ants' nest. They were not only bigger in size, stronger in strength, but also higher in level. However, these worker ants were like paper paste to Dick. Whether they flew or not, they could only turn into dust in front of the talent of the thick earth. In this way, Dick hunted and killed the silent demonic ants all the way. He walked along the crack in the hill all the way to the ant's nest. The message from the earth told Dick the location of the queen ant so that he wouldn't be lost in the complex ant's nest. The silent demonic ants couldn't stop Dick, and he didn't encounter real resistance until he reached the outside of the nest. They were 3 giant silent demonic ants that were even larger than normal human beings. Their limbs were covered with hard claws, and the pair of mouthparts had completely transformed into their jaws, with sharp teeth. It looked weird and disgusting. Dick frowned and looked at the 3 giant silent demonic ants. The 3 of them were LV-18. Although most of the value of this race was low, the 3 were unexpectedly strong. When Dick was in a daze for a moment, the guard of the demonic ants at the far left waved its bone claw. Dick subconsciously raised his knife and was pushed back a few meters by the heavy force. Before he could adjust his position, the other 2 guards had already waved their bone claws and rushed over. The talent of strength strengthening made these guards of the silent demonic ants own the astonishing strength. Even their inadvertent movements could leave a deep mark on the stone wall. It was said that ants could lift things hundreds of times heavier than their own bodies. Dick finally realized how terrifying this power was in the battle. In addition, the bone claws of the guards were extremely hard, which made it difficult for Dick to attack their bodies. The blade would always be blocked by their strong bone claws. Don't you like blocking? Then I will make you unable to block or fly. With a snort, Dick strode forward and came to the encirclement of the 3 guards. 72 Chapter 72 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Happiness filled the eyes of the 3 guards of the demonic ants. They had never seen such a stupid human who dared to step into their encirclement voluntarily. Raising their bone claws together, the guards were about to smash this reckless human into meat mud, but their claws awkwardly stopped in midair and did not even have time to fall. An unimaginable storm suddenly lifted their thin bodies, tore their bodies into this narrow cave, and slammed them onto the rock wall. The hurricane created by the wind controlling pierced through the solid soil above. This cave, which had existed for many years, had opened a huge sunroof at this moment. The bodies of the 3 guards flew high along the hole at the top of the hole. Under the sweep of the hurricane, their bodies quickly turned into pieces and died. Then was the last part of the ant's nest. Dick took a deep breath and slowly walked into the dark cave in front of him. He used the fire-controlling talent to light a ball of fire for himself. The tunnel was narrow and long. A scorching smell came from the front, which made Dick cover his nose involuntarily. When he reached the end of the tunnel and entered the nest of the queen ant, the scene in front of him made his scalp tingle. It was more like a factory than a nest of creatures. Countless silent demonic ants were busy pulling out white eggs from the queen ant's huge body. Dick could even see the creatures wriggling in the white eggs. Before they were even born, they had already struggled in the white eggs and made the movement of biting. Wait, bite. Why did the silent demonic ant, which was a kind of insect magical beast, do such private action like a beast? Dick's scalp tingled. He raised the flame in his hand and looked at the position of the queen ant. All of a sudden, he felt his stomach wriggling and almost spit out. The queen ant was a silent demonic ant as long as 2 or 3 people, and some of its features even belonged to human beings. A huge iron cage was hung above the queen ant. There was a huge tiger in the cage. Judging from the ferocious word king on its forehead, this weak tiger was obviously the Tiger King that Dick had been looking for. But now it was in danger. Although it was huge, in fact, only the thick tiger bone was still supporting its body. Its muscles had almost completely shrunk, leaving only a layer of dry hair wrapped in the outer layer. Blood dripped from the lower part of the Tiger King's body and fell into the queen ant's mouth. Dick's hair stood on end. Now he understood why the 3 guards of the silent demonic ant at the entrance of the cave had evolved into beast-like jaws and claws. That was not because of the natural evolution of the magical beasts in this world, but because the guards of the silent demonic ant were all the descendants of the queen ant and the tiger king. The animalization of the white eggs was even better. Dick could even see that some of the embryos that hadn't been completely hatched had tiger-shaped heads in them. When the tiger king saw Dick, it let out a weak growl from its mouth which was covered by an iron mask. Only God knew where these silent demonic ants got these iron execution tools so that they could firmly bind a fierce tiger king that was at the top of the food chain and make it look like this. Dick didn't want to stay here for even one more second. It was torture for him to look around. The fire hit the ground hard, and the sea of fire instantly swallowed up the fertility factory. Although the huge queen ant led the whole silent demon ant group and reached the level of LV-19, in fact, it didn't have much battle ability, and its huge body restricted its movement. Although it struggled to leave its delivery room and escape into the hard soil, it could not drag its huge belly anyway. Dick caught up with the queen ant in 2 steps. In the light of the fire, the face of the queen ant unexpectedly showed a strange tenderness as if a woman walking out of a painting was ogling Dick. Allurement. This queen ant unexpectedly had such a talent. No wonder it could subdue the tiger king with such a weak fighting ability. Dick had been highly concentrated all the time, and the scene just now had shocked him so much that the queen ant's allurement did not have much effect on him. With a flash of the moonlight machete, the queen ant's head spun and flew into the flames. Dick coughed in disgust. He still pondered the talent of allurement from the queen ant. Although this talent made him sick, he had to admit that it was a very good spirit control skill. As for the hanging tiger, Dick put the cage into his storage ring. The fire here was getting hotter and hotter, and all the silent demonic ants and the weird embryos were swept away. Dick didn't want to stay here and continue to smell the disgusting smell. Dick guessed that although it was called the silent grassland, it was definitely not because of the silent demonic ant. Perhaps it was because the roar of the tiger king could make the whole grassland fall into silence. Since the queen ant of the silent demonic ant was here, the tiger king was under the control of the allurement and the queen ant gave birth to the unusually strong silent demonic ants. Only then did it become a rule on the quiet grassland. Dick still felt a little nauseated until he left the nest of the quiet ants far away. He really didn't want to think of the hell-like scene again. He took out the tiger king from his storage ring. At this time, the tiger king was dying. The former king on the silent grassland was so weak that it could not even defeat a cat. Looking at the tiger king's body, Dick couldn't help but feel sorry for it, but only a little. With such a broken body, the tiger king had no chance to continue to live. It depended on how long it could last. For the current tiger king, perhaps the greatest mercy was to give it a quick death. Dick thought the same way. The moonlight machete in his hand slowly cut into the throat of the tiger king, cutting off its last trace of life. Before it died, it cast a grateful glance at Dick. Its eyes were full of relief. 73 Chapter 73 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tiger king slowly closed its eyes. The energy in its body was integrated into a white light and integrated into Dick's body. As Dick's machete slowly slid down, the chest of the tiger king was pulled open. Although it was extremely weak, its heart was still strong. Being held in Dick's hands, its heart was still beating fast. The strong force came from his palm, which made Dick's heart beat fast. He also sighed in his heart that he was so lucky. If it weren't for the fact that the queen ant had caused such a disaster to the tiger king, it would be impossible for him to defeat it with his current strength. Mission completion notice. Congratulations to Dick from number 1002548 Green, Hand Village for obtaining the heart of the tiger king. The progress of the mission is February 5th. Dick killed the tiger king and got a level C treasure box. He killed the queen ant and got a level C treasure box. Announcement of gambling. The blue team accumulated 1,000 points and won the gambling. Announcement of gambling. Dick has got more than 800 points in the gambling, and the original reward will be trebled. As the initiator of the gambling, Dick will get the doubled reward. Since Dick performed well in the gambling, we will reward him with 2 pieces of cards of the synthetic treasure chest, prestige points plus 10. The announcement of the winning of the gambling spread all over the Green Hand Village. Although the speed of Dick's winning last time was already amazing, this time, Dick's speed refreshed people's perception. 2 hours. It only took him 2 hours. Dick led the blue team to win the gambling. Up to now, Sphinx's personal points didn't even have more than 100 points. Looking at the 880 points below the name of Dick on the points list, he really wanted to slap himself in the face to wake himself up. 880 points in 2 hours. Could a normal human achieve this? Maybe his level should be fake. Just as Sphinx blinked his eyes and doubted his life, the Green Hand villages of the red team were hopeless. Although they still had hope of winning in this gambling, most of them had been scared by Dick. They only hoped that Dick could reach 1,000 points later so that they could live longer. But it only took 2 hours for Dick to destroy their unrealistic fantasy. The failure came so fast that many people's 50 points were deducted before they could react. This time not only the people of LV2 and LV3 suffered but also some people of LV6 began to turn into dust. This was a punishment with a negative attribute. Then there were also all kinds of resource cuts. 70% of the resources of these Green Hand villages had been cut, and now another 70% had been cut. This was simply a catastrophe to them. The magical beasts, which could be seen everywhere before, were now rare to find even if one all through the forest. Even if one killed a magical beast, the property he obtained was poor, let alone whether the treasure box could be released. How could this be? The evil killer won in only 2 hours. More than 60% people of our Green Hand village have died. He's so horrible. He doesn't want to save our lives at all. We can't offend Dick, never try to do that. We don't want to die. Please spare us. Mr. Dick, we know we were wrong. From now on, you are our father. Please don't hurt us. There was a wail on the system chat channel. Those Green Hand villages that had been defeated by Dick were all beaten to lose their temper. Under the suppression of absolute power, they couldn't resist at all. Looking at the ugly state of these robbers, it had to be said to be very pleasant. Mr. Dick, how many surprises can you bring to me? Is this the power given to you by God? Look at those invaders. They are so ugly now in order to make up for what they have done. Sphinx said with a laugh. After the gambling, he had completely trusted Dick. Although Dick's level was not as good as his, in terms of fighting ability, even several people like him together couldn't compare with Dick. He had made up his mind to communicate more with Dick from now on. Perhaps Dick would be a great help to their Green Hand village in the future. Sphinx, my friend, I think we don't have to be so restrained in the future. This is what the robbers deserve. They deserve the punishment. Dick said with a smile. He was in a good mood now. The robbers got their deserved punishment. Not only did he get the reward but his level had also risen to LV18 in the killing. In addition to the properties obtained from the upgrade, with the fourfold rewards, he had obtained a total of 200 points in this gambling. The other 2 cards of the synthetic treasure chest were synthesized into 20 level.E treasure chests by Dick. Although there was still a long way to go before Dick could synthesize a level.A treasure box, he had seen unlimited possibilities. Announcement. Dick took the lead to improve his prestige points to 20. Title. Rookie King. Hint. The Rookie King can get the qualification to complete special tasks. At the same time, they have a better chance to get a better reward after killing the magical beasts. The sudden announcement attracted a lot of exclamations. Oh my God! Dick's level should not be as high as that of Mr. Sphinx, right? He actually won the title of the Rookie King. Don't be silly. The Rookie King is rated according to prestige points, and it has nothing to do with the ranking. No matter what, he's so handsome. The Rookie King. What a domineering title. And he's qualified to carry out a special task. Robbers, have you seen that? This is Dick. No matter how cruel and evil you are, there will always be such a hero to lead us. Sphinx couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly when he saw his prestige points with only 10. People on the regional chat channel thought he was better than Dick, so his fighting capacity was better than Dick. In fact, he might not be able to hold on for a few minutes in front of Dick. Dick was also surprised. He didn't expect that prestige points could be so useful besides buying things in the prestige store. But he was more curious about what the special task was. 74 Chapter 74 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Announcement. There are already 20 strong warriors above LV 15 in the number 12 district. The public task starts. Announcement. From now on, all the defensive arrays of green hand villages will be withdrawn, and green hand villages will no longer be protected by the rules. Hint. From now on, a sky envoy with LV 60 or above will appear in each green hand village a month later. The sky envoy would destroy all the wooden houses in green hand village. Hint. If one's wooden house is destroyed, he will lose the domicile of his green hand village. His identity will be reduced to an exile, and all kinds of properties will be reduced by 100 points. Public task. Future Castellan. This public task belongs to each green hand village. After completing this public task, you could get a new defensive array, which could effectively resist the punishment from the sky envoy. Hint. You can get a lot of rewards if you resist the sky envoy, and green hand village automatically updates one level. Defeating the sky envoy would double the reward. The constant announcements caused an uproar on the chat channel of the whole region. Oh my God! How could this be? Our protection array has been cancelled, and there is even a sky envoy attacking us. There is no way for us to live in this world. How can we survive in this way? Our village has just lost 70% of the resources 2 times, and now we can't even see the magical beasts. How can we upgrade? That's the sky envoy of LV 60. Even Mr. Sphinx can't stop it, right? It's over. All is over. I'm going to die soon. I don't want to become an exile. 100 points. That's 100 points. If I subtract 100 points, I might die, right? You're wrong. Not 100 points will be deducted totally, but 100 points will be deducted for each property. If you add it together, it will be 500 points. Dick gritted his teeth. Such a condition was too harsh. Now in the number 12 rookie district, only he and Sphinx were close to LV 20, and the level of the sky envoy had reached LV 60. There was even the word above in the announcement, which meant that the rank of the sky envoy was definitely not only LV 60. It might increase with the increase of the level of green hand village. Looking at the wailing in the green hand village, Dick wiped the sweat off his forehead. Now he didn't have time to care about other green hand villages. No matter what happened, their number 1002548 green hand village must be safe. He had to do this task of the future Castellan, not only to protect their green hand village but also to protect himself. All of a sudden, he saw a small window under his public bar shaking. He clicked on it and found that there was a tiny hint below his public task. Hint. As the Rookie King, you can get extra task hints. Task hint. This task has something to do with the Dark Castle. If you want to enter the Dark Castle, you need to get the rune first. Dick was overjoyed. He didn't expect such a good thing to happen. He had already known about the Dark Castle, and he had collected all the runes he needed to enter. He could enter the Dark Castle at any time to complete the task of the future Castellan. He opened the number 1002548 Green, Hand Village chat channel, only to hear the wails of the crowd. Although they were very confident in Dick, they still couldn't believe that Dick had the ability to defeat the Sky Envoy of LV-60. It had been almost a month since they came to the Killing World. During this month, even the fastest person of the upgrade couldn't reach LV-20. In the month before the arrival of the Sky Envoy, perhaps no one would be able to cross 40 levels in one step. My friends, don't worry. I have found some clues. I will try to complete this task soon. Dick said after thinking for a while. Everyone was excited and asked Dick about the details of the task. Mr. Dick, what's the purpose of this task? Does it really want us to become exiles and die? Where is the place for completing the task? We can team up. Yes, this is everyone's business. If we can finish this task earlier, our village can get the protection array as soon as possible, and also resist the terrifying Sky Envoy. Dick said with a smile. There are many fierce magical beasts with dark nature in them. Their grades are all above LV-15. What's more, they have the ability to reduce the grade of the targets. Everyone exclaimed. They knew that this task must be very difficult, but they didn't expect it to be so difficult. They had never heard of the magical beasts that could make people's levels decline. I can go with you. Although my current level is only LV-16, I believe with my talent, I can definitely help you. Edward's chatting window was shaking in front of Dick. He even transferred his talent panel to Dick. Dick was taken aback. Edward's talent was tailor-made for this task. Level. A talent. Purification. Skill. The Light of Purification. This was a unique level. A talent. If it weren't for the fact that the attack power of it was not good, Edward would have been the person who stood at the top of the Green Hand Village. However, in this mission of the Dark Castle, this purification talent was simply an advantage. All the magical beasts there were dark and evil, with the talent of purification. All the dark magical beasts were trivial in front of Edward. Edward, my friend. You know what? This task is tailor-made for you. Besides you, I think of another person. Edward laughed and called out the same name as Dick. Lely. Now Lely's level had reached LV-16. Although it was not as good as Dick's, its unique thunder talent was definitely the nemesis of the dark and evil magical beasts. Well, my friends, if I want to take you to there, we still need to complete one more thing. It's related to whether the three of us can enter the Dark Castle together. Dick said to Edward and Lely. The place to complete the task is the Dark Castle in the Fog Forest. If we want to go in, we need to get the magical runes first. I already have them, all we need is that you should get the magical runes. 75 Chapter 75 You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm in the Fog Forest now. I can wait for you two at the entrance. Lely replied soon. He had been staying in the Fog Forest with Kira these days, the distance he needed to move is not very far. And Edward was always around the Fog Forest, so the two of them could meet first. Dick agreed and hurried to the Fog Forest. Now the sun was about to set. They could start hunting the evil ape when they gathered together. I didn't expect that the three of us would have the chance to hunt together. I thought Dick wouldn't come back to this forest after he was promoted to LV-18. Edward teased. The three of them couldn't help but burst into laughter when they thought of the situation when they fought against Mundo. Well, let's stop gossiping. We came to the Fog Forest because the Dark Castle in the task is here. And the way to enter the Dark Castle is also in this forest. Dick clapped his hands and said to Lely and Edward. He drew the appearance of the evil ape on the ground with his fingers and pointed at the picture to them. This is the most basic magical beast in the Dark Castle. When I met them, I was only LV-15. Their talent is called Dark Erosion, which is a kind of smog talent. If you are hit, your blood vitality, energy and experience points will decrease. You must pay attention to their talent. Once you are hit by the smoke, only by killing them can the experience points stop decreasing. And I haven't entered the dark castle before. I don't know how many strange magical beasts are inside. Dick took a deep breath and told them. Although your talent has a strong restraining effect on the dark creatures, your level is not high enough. Once you are in danger, I will let you retreat. You will never turn around. Dick looked at Edward and Lely. He breathed a sigh of relief until they nodded seriously. The situation in the dark castle must be extremely complicated. He didn't want Edward and Lely to risk their lives to go deeper with him. He was sure that he could escape, but he was not confident to do that with Edward and Lely. Don't worry. I know what I'm capable of. If something happens, we won't cause you any trouble. Lely said loudly, shrugging his shoulders. But there was also a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. He didn't want Dick to face the danger alone, and he didn't want Dick to undertake all the matters related to the survival of the whole Green Hand village. Well, since you all understand, let's go. Remember, the evil ape likes corpses with blood. We only need to attract 8 more apes to get runes for you to enter the dark castle. Dick urged. Their goal tonight was to enter the dark castle, not to hunt the evil ape. If they attracted too much, it would affect their task progress. As the night fell, the 3 of them quietly lurked in the fog forest. In the center of the forest in front of them, a magical beast's chest was cut. The smell of the blood slowly drifted away along with the wind in the forest. Pay attention to the top of our heads. The evil ape usually doesn't go down the tree to move. Be careful not to be attacked from above. Dick whispered to his 2 companions. Edward and Lely agreed and bent over the grass more carefully. The leaves above his head shook. Edward looked up carefully. He covered his mouth with his hand all of a sudden, trying hard to control himself from making any sound. There were a large number of green sparkles, looking fiercely in the direction of the magical beast's corpse. They are coming. Wait a minute. You can attack as soon as you see my action. Remember not to be touched by the black smoke they give out. We have to guarantee that we will enter the dark castle in good condition. Dick said to his 2 friends. Those evil apes were already crazy because of the stimulation of the blood. They jumped down from the tree and crazily tore the bloody corpses. Dick narrowed his eyes and looked at the treetop with the help of the talent of visual mutation. Although these evil apes were powerful, they didn't seem to have a high IQ. They didn't even leave any vigilant evil apes to stand sentry. But it also gave Dick great convenience. In the darkness, a light flashed and extinguished, enveloping all the evil apes. Illusory shock forcefully dragged these dark creatures into the illusion. Even if they had strong talent, they wouldn't be able to release it in a few seconds. Lely's movements were very fast. The moment Dick used his skill, he smashed the big hammer in his hand on the ground. Countless bolts of thunder formed a brilliant and dazzling shield and pushed the evil apes into the sky. There was a circle of bright lightning around their bodies. The strong suppressive effect made these evil apes unable to move even if they woke up from the illusions. God said that light is needed, so there is light in the world. It can break through darkness and devil, and purify the world. Edward sang in a high voice, holding a gorgeous wand in his hand and wearing a robe on him. A dazzling light was emitted from the top of the wand, forming a brilliant nebula in the sky above the fog forest. Streaks of light fell from the sky and sprinkled on the bodies of these evil apes. The evil apes roared. They swayed their limbs, looking funny and ridiculous under the light. The dark smoke around them was fading away under the light. Together with their bodies, they turned into nothingness because of the light of purification. This time, they killed 12 evil apes. As the final killer, Edward gained more experience. However, at this time, he looked at the wand in his hand with confusion. It's strange. Normally, this light doesn't have much effect on those magical beasts, and sometimes it can even help the magical beasts to dispel the negative state. Why does it become so powerful this time? Dick said with a smile, patting Edward on the shoulder. Don't forget that not all the magical beasts are dark. Your talent for purification naturally has little effect on those magical beasts who are not that dark. He walked forward and picked up the pieces of magical runes on the ground. Well, let's go. 76 Chapter 76 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Standing in front of the dark castle, Edward and Lely couldn't help swallowing. It was the first time they had seen this dark castle, and the heavy black air made them tremble. I want to say it again. Once there is anything that can't be handled, I will let you go. You must leave immediately. Do you understand? Dick took a deep breath. In fact, when he looked at the castle now, he still had a feeling that he was going to be devoured. He even had a feeling of flinch in his heart. He wanted to leave now and never come here again. But then he suppressed his thoughts. This was related to the fate of the whole Green Hand village and himself. If he didn't do it, no one else in number 1002548 Green Hand village could do it. Although Edward and Lely were not weak, they were still much weaker than him. He didn't want to be destroyed by the Sky Envoy because he couldn't get the protection of the array. Well, show the magical runes. We're going in. Finally, Dick took a deep breath, took out the magical runes and walked into the dark castle. This time, the invisible barrier did not stop his actions. When the magical runes touched the barrier, all sorts of mysterious runes began to appear on the surface. Then, a huge attraction came and dragged Dick's body, instantly entering the area of the dark castle. Edward and Lely were stunned by the scene in front of them. They had seen with their own eyes that Dick was dragged into the barrier, but after that, they could not see Dick. They could only see the huge dark castle shaking slightly through the barrier. At this point, they naturally couldn't retreat. They raised the magical runes at the same time and entered the area of the dark castle. The cold and moist breath wrapped around Dick's body, making him shiver involuntarily. The rotten breath was like a viper, firmly attached to his body. He wanted to escape, but there was no way to leave, let alone expel this feeling from his body. Dick was highly resistant. Even in such a terrible environment like the Insect Valley, he could not be affected at all. However, after entering the dark castle, he felt uncomfortable in an instant. It could be imagined how strict the environment here was. Then he saw Edward and Lely. The two of them didn't seem to be affected after they walked into the dark castle. This made Dick a little depressed. But after thinking for a while, he felt relieved. After all, these two people's talents were able to restrain the darkness, so they would be less affected. When he was about to say something, he suddenly felt the earth shake violently, almost lifting them up. He turned his head and saw a cloud of black smoke gushing out from the ground around the dark castle, with countless dark red sparkles, which were like the demon in the dark night, making people tremble with fear. The sound of bones rubbing made people's teeth ache. In a few seconds, they had arrived in front of them. Only then did Dick see clearly the shadow wrapped in the black mist. It was clearly a human skeleton. Those red sparkles were the flames burning in Skeleton's eyes, and the earth trembled when Skeleton stepped on the ground. Although they didn't have weapons in their hands, the dark aura condensed on their palms was no different from the sharpest weapons. Push Lely away. Dick had no time to scream but had to raise the moonlight machete and collide with the claws of skeletons. The heavy force hit the moonlight machete, making the solid weapon groan in pain. Dick's arms went numb and he couldn't stand steadily. Fortunately, Edward caught him behind him, so he didn't let him fall to the ground. Although Lely was shocked by skeletons at the beginning, he had rich combat experience. He had already reacted when Dick stopped those skeletons. He waved the heavy hammer and formed a circle of thunder around the three people's bodies. The dazzling thunder surrounded the three people, and all the skeletons that came into contact with the thunder were crushed into pieces. However, this was not able to stop these skeletons. They struggled and tried their best to enter the thunder. Skeletons were like a tide hitting the thunder. Lely's forehead was covered with cold sweat. It was hard to tell the level of these skeletons, but the consumption caused by them doubled. God, may your radiance turn into blessings and purify the evil in front of me. Edward sang quickly. The wand in his hand drew an arc and covered around the dim thunder, which helped Lely resist the endless skeletons. Dick felt lucky that he came with Edward and Lely this time. Otherwise, he would have to withdraw when facing the skeletons group for the time being if he was alone. Let's get into the castle. We can't waste any more time here, or we will not be able to bear it for the time being. Dick shouted and quickly took out several herbs and put them into Lely's mouth, which made Lely's pale face look better. Although the thunder and the light of purification moved slowly, they finally approached the gate of the dark castle. The closer they got to the castle, the fiercer the attacks of skeletons became. Fortunately, Dick had enough herbs to support them to walk to the front of the castle. Even so, Lely's thunder was about to go out. Those broken skeletons couldn't provide energy for them like the magical beasts. On the contrary, after they were broken, they would soon gather together again as if they could never be killed. Only when skeletons were completely shrouded in Edward's light of purification would the black gas fade away and turn into dust. When they finally arrived at the gate of the castle, a skeleton's head finally broke through the dim thunder. You can only stay here forever. You can't leave. The skeleton opened its jaw and roared in the sound of broken bones. The red flames in its eyes were gradually extinguished as if they had turned into liquid, flowing down along the broken bones and dropping on the ground. Dick and the others collapsed at the gate of the castle. The skeletons were slowly sinking into the soil less than 3 meters away from them. It was not until the scarlet eyes disappeared that they heaved a long sigh of relief. This place is too dangerous. Is this really the mission we can complete now? Lely gasped heavily. I think since the rules are announced in this world, there must be a way to complete it. If it is announced at this time, it can't be a task that we can't complete. Dick said as he gently stroked the heavy gate. 77 Chapter 77 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The three of them rested at the gate for half an hour before regaining their strength. After eating Dick's herbs, Lely felt much better. Well, let's hurry up and enter the castle. There are still many difficulties waiting for us ahead. Dick said to Edward and Lely. He pushed the gate open and walked in first. When they entered the dark castle, the three of them were stunned. Although they had already known that this place was not an ordinary place, they did not expect that everything here was so similar to number 1002548 Green, Hand Village. Even the road in front of them was the same as the road of the village's exit. Dick could even find his wooden house according to the route here. Have you noticed it? This place is so strange. It seems to be the place we have been before. Lely said unconsciously. Noel Daren, don't be silly. This is the same layout as our number 1002548 Green, Hand Village. Look at the roads and houses here. Although they are broken, all the layout is the same as that of our Green, Hand Village. It's so. Edward gave Lely a push and stammered. He was too shocked to continue. Dick sighed and continued. It's like the damaged number 1002548 Green, Hand Village, isn't it? Dick squatted down and gently touched the ground. The soil told him that this land had existed for at least thousands of years, even longer than these buildings. It seems that we need to reevaluate this place. This place is definitely not as simple as the secret place that we thought at the beginning. I think this may be the previous number 1002548 Green, Hand Village. Dick stood up and said seriously. What do you mean by the previous? Is there another number 1002548 Green, Hand Village before us in this world? Edward asked curiously. Shouldn't they be the first group of humans to come here? If not, then what was it that came here before them? We are not the first batch to come here. Maybe other people from other worlds have also come here before us. Otherwise, where did the skeletons come from? Dick said slowly, feeling a little creepy. This should be the last number 1002548 Green, Han Village, but because they failed to resist the attack of the Sky Envoy, everyone's wooden house was damaged and finally the whole Green, Han Village became like this. As for those human beings whose wooden houses were damaged and have become exiles can't enter this dark castle again, because they have lost their residence as human beings, so they have become skeletons, which are driven by the dark castle, wandering outside. Edward and Lowly felt a chill run down their spines. Thinking of the crazy and painful look of skeletons outside the dark castle, thinking that their souls would be imprisoned outside the dark castle forever after it was destroyed, a chill came from the depths of his soul. This is too terrifying. We must complete this task. I would rather die than become the skeletons outside the castle. Let alone my soul will be confined here. Edward groaned in pain. He shook his head hard, trying to expel the shadows of skeletons from his mind. But the more he did so, the clearer the blood-red skeletons became in his mind. Calm down. These are just our conjectures. Our fate will not be like theirs. We must complete this task. Dick said, putting his hand on Edward's shoulder. He needed to give his partner some confidence. Now that they had just entered the dark castle, it was definitely not the time for them to retreat. If they were discouraged here, then the following tasks would be impossible. Dick is right. We shouldn't be depressed. The scene in front of us can't be our future. We have to work harder to complete the task. We can't become the previous number 1002548 Green, Han Village. Lowly raised his head and said firmly. The three of them pulled themselves together and walked along the street towards the village. Along the way, they saw many evil apes jumping between the houses, but these magical beasts didn't seem to have any intention of attacking them. They just followed them all the way as if they were watching their movements. These guys are so annoying. I always feel like I'm being watched. Can we kill them first? Lowly couldn't help but raise his hammer and said to Dick. No, we are here to complete the task, not to kill the magical beasts. If you want to fight, there will be a bigger one to fight you soon. Dick stopped Lowly. The ground under his feet shook slowly, bringing him the information in front of him. In front of them was a huge evil ape. Compared to the other evil apes, this one was 7 meters tall. The muscles and hair on its arms glowed with an iron-gray luster, and the power contained within it could not help but make people tremble. Magical beast. Mutated demonic ape. Grade. LV-17. Blood vitality. 1500, strength. 850, energy. 500, defense. 500, agility. 120. Talent. Strength madness, talent. Shock. Explosive rate. 5%. Dick stopped and whispered to his friends. Be careful, this is the mutated demonic beast. It is so powerful that we can't fight it head-on. I'll help him to attract his attention, and you two should try your best to fight. When I send a signal, you must jump off the ground anyway. Edward and Lowly nodded at the same time. Although they didn't know how Dick got the information about the magical beast, they didn't ask much in the battle. The mutated demonic ape also found Dick and the others. It didn't rush over immediately, but raised its 2 arms and smashed them hard to the ground. Just as it fell to the group, Dick shouted, "Jump!" Edward and Lowly jumped up at the same time, only to see the ground under their feet break like a cobweb the moment they jumped up. 78 Chapter 78 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The ground rose, and the jagged rocks turned this area into a cage. If it weren't for Dick's command, Edward and Lowly would have been imprisoned in this stone forest. Flesh strengthening helped Dick resist the negative effect caused by the shock skill of the evil ape. That was why he decided to face the pressure of the evil ape alone. Among the three of them, only he was able to avoid being affected by the skill of the evil ape. It was the most appropriate for him to attract the attack. Seeing that a small human dared to show off in front of it, the evil ape's blood-red eyes shone with ferocity. It raised its arm and tried to grab Dick again. It was trying to tear Dick apart. But when it put its hand halfway out, it felt a pain in the palm. As Dick's body moved, he used the moonlight machete to leave 2 scars on its palm, and at the same time, he injected poison into its body. The evil ape's body trembled, but its strong physique and the dark energy inside its body had neutralized the poison of Dick and discharged the poison out of its body right away. Now is the time. Attack. Dick looked at the stiff body of the evil ape and shouted. It was not that the poison didn't affect the evil ape at all, but it could still cause the body of the mutated demonic ape to pause. Edward and Lely also seized the opportunity to cover the evil ape with thunder and the light of purification. Strong black air rose. The evil ape waved its arm and stumbled towards Dick. It still wanted to kill Dick at the last moment of its life. With a flash of the moonlight machete, a wound appeared in the evil ape's throat, almost cutting off its entire head. The huge body of the evil ape slowly fell to the ground, and the red light in its eyes gradually extinguished. Congratulations for killing the mutated demonic ape. Trial value +20. The current professional progress. 100/100. The judge profession has been promoted to the first level. Automatically obtained professional talent. The light of trial. The level.B talent. The light of trial. A light is summoned from the center of the user, which has the trial effect. Hit by the light of trial, one's all properties will decrease by 100 points, and at the same time, it will suffer double damage from the user. Of course, these instructions only existed on Dick's board, they were not shared to Edward and Lely. Dick was stunned. He couldn't believe that the promotion of his profession would bring him such a huge increase. All the attributes dropped by 100 points, which meant that the level of his enemy had been directly reduced. And it worked in the range of his attack. Although Dick was surprised, he quickly adjusted his facial expression. He didn't want Edward and Lely to see his profession had changed. I didn't expect the first magical beast we met after entering the Dark Castle to be so ferocious. Although it was the mutated demonic beast, it seems to be the most basic one, right? If we keep going forward, I don't know how many magical beasts are waiting for us. Lely and Edward ran to Dick and said. Now we have to be more careful. The magical beast is within eyeshot. What I'm worried about is whether more magical beasts will be hidden in the dark. Edward said worriedly. Even when the three of them gathered, he was still maintaining the activated state of the wand, guarding the surroundings with the light of purification. I don't think magical beasts will attack us for the time being. This magical beast should carry the final guidance of the Dark Castle mission. Dick said as he picked up a copper ball with mysterious patterns. This copper ball exploded after killing the evil ape. It was neither a treasure box nor an item, so it could only be the guidance about the mission. The announcement resounded through the whole chat channel as he crushed the copper ball. Announcement. Dick has got the task guidance. The future Castellan task of number 1002548 Green, Hand Village has been completely activated. The progress of the task could be checked in the public bar at any time. Another paragraph appeared in front of Dick and the other two. Mission guidance. Enter the center of the castle and defeat the envoys of Satan and get their seals, then release Satan on the underground altar. After defeating Satan, the whole castle would be purified. Hint. After defeating Satan, you only need to put the copper ball on his heart, and the copper ball will become a certificate of the future Castellan. Hint. This is a time-limited task. If the task is not completed before dawn, it will be regarded as a failure and the copper ball will disappear automatically. Hint. The envoys of Satan and Satan are dowdy. Those who are not strong enough, please leave at once. The three of them looked at each other and felt even more stressed. But at the same time, they felt a little relaxed. At least they finally found the real way to complete this task, so they wouldn't do that without knowing anything. And with this information, their progress would always be faster than those green hand villages who knew nothing about it. You are the sixth one who has got the copper ball in all green hand villages. Please finish the task as soon as possible. For the top 100 castles, the initial properties would increase by 50%, and for the top 10 castles, the initial properties would increase by 100%. As the top 100 castle owner, you can get a total of 100 points for all kinds of properties and a level B treasure box. As the top 10 castle owner, you can get a total of 200 points and a level A treasure box with all kinds of properties. The generous reward made Dick and the others swallow hard. Now they were the sixth to get the copper ball. If they could really finish it in the top 10, it would add 100% of the initial properties to the castle. Not to mention that the creator still had the reward for 200 points of the property and a level A treasure box. The three of them looked at each other and saw the passion in each other's eyes. The generous reward gave them great motivation. The three of them were eager to go to the deepest part of the castle and kill Satan now. Hint. Since number 1002548 Green Hand Village is the only green hand village that has won 2 rounds of gambling, the degree of difficulty of this public task will automatically double. All the dark creatures had doubled their strength. Hint. In this public task, number 1002548 Green Hand Village is the only green hand village whose degree of difficulty of the task has doubled. Hint. If the number 1002548 Green Hand Village can complete the task with double difficulty to build the castle, all the rewards will be doubled. 79 Chapter 79 You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the news spread, Dick and the others' expressions became complicated. They had thought that they could finish the task faster than other green hand villages after they got the copper ball ahead of time. But they didn't expect that their task was 2 times more difficult than the other green hand villages' tasks, and it was the only green hand village that the task had been increased in difficulty. In that case, they might fall behind in speed. Damn it. I didn't expect our task to be 2 times more difficult than the other green hand villages. In that case, we have to compete with all the green hand villages for the top 10. This is too harsh. Dick said, massaging between his eyebrows. Edward and Lowly also looked serious. The difficulty of the task was 2 times higher than that of the other green hand villages, and the enemies they had to face would also be 2 times stronger than the others. In this case, not to mention getting the top 10 positions, whether they could complete the task or not was a question. But on the other hand, if they could get the top 10, they would get 2 times the reward of the other green hand villages. Moreover, even if they only got the 10th place, their value would definitely be higher than first place. But could we really get the 10th place? Or could we really become the top 100 villages to build castles? Dick was not sure. However, the direction they were heading had been decided. If they wanted the green hand village to survive, they had to keep moving forward. Even if the difficulty of the task would be increased by 2 times, they still had to complete it. Only strength could support them to go on. Let's go. It's meaningless to struggle with the 2 times difficulty of the task now. The world will never cancel its decision. If it doesn't work, we have to do it again tomorrow. Dick took a deep breath and patted Edward and Lowly. Yes, if we just stand there and do nothing, even if the difficulty is half of the original, we can't complete the task. Only when we move forward can we see the hope of victory. Edward shook his head and tried to get rid of those thoughts. The 3 of them continued to walk along the road. The innermost part of the castle should be the center of Green Hand Village. In the center of number 1002548 Green, Han Village, there was a flat square, and in this abandoned Green, Han Village, it would not change. Click. A light sound broke the silence in the village. The three people immediately became nervous. They leaned back and guarded the surroundings. However, they did not find anything unusual. The darkness around them did not change at all, as if the light sound just now came from an illusory world. It's so strange. I heard it. Lely asked doubtfully. But before he finished his words, he felt a cold touch on his leg, as slippery as a snake. At the same time, the cold touch seemed to go along his legs towards his nerves. In a moment, Lely only felt that his blood vitality, energy, and even experience points had fallen a lot. Dark erosion. There is something in the black fog. Lely screamed. He remembered the talent Dick had told him could cause the decline of his blood vitality, energy and experience points. Wasn't this his current situation? Dick and Edward also found something unusual. The two of them quickly turned their heads and put Lely in the middle, enveloping the three people's bodies with the light of purification. But even so, the black fog on Lely's body did not disappear. A painful expression appeared on his face. One of his legs had turned purple black, and countless tentacle-like lines were approaching his heart. Dick, is this really the dark erosion? My light of purification can only slow down the spreading of erosion, but it can't completely purify it. It's more like a poison than a talent. Edward said to Dick nervously after checking Lely's condition. They couldn't even see clearly what had attacked them in the black fog. If the dark erosion could only be stopped after the user was killed, then at this speed, Kelly would definitely die. Edward, you go back to the place where we came with Lely. I will find a way to deal with the dark erosion. You retreat to the castle gate and immediately use the light of purification to cover the two of you. If I haven't come back before dawn, you should leave immediately. Dick took a deep breath and said in a trembling voice. Visual mutation has provided him with an extraordinary vision. He can see the human-shaped object wrapped in snakes in darkness. Edward and Lely couldn't handle it. Even if their talents had a restraining effect, it was still impossible to surpass the class of level and talent. But Edward wanted to say something more, but Dick quickly turned around and glared at him. What do you want to say? You are just a burden to me now. Have you forgotten what you promised me? Lely's life is in your hands. Run. Edward was stunned. Then he gritted his teeth, quickly took off his robe with the light of purification and threw it to Dick. Listen up, this is a level 0.4 item. The light of purification contained in it can resist the attack of the dark, which is 4 level higher than the user. You must come back alive. If you die, I will curse you every day. After saying that, Edward ran all the way to the gate with Lely in his arms without looking back. Putting on the robe, Dick felt a warm power enveloping his body. In this dark and wet environment, he was as shiny as the sun. Haha, nice man. In order to let your companions escape, you chose to stay here. You should have already seen me, right? I think your talent should be related to vision. Unfortunately, you are going to die soon. A grating voice came from the mist as if two pieces of iron were rubbing against each other. Then, a tall and thin man walked out of the black fog. He was wearing broken armor, and countless colorful snakes grew in his body instead of his flesh. The black fog seemed to come out of his body, and there was even a smile on his dry and rotten face. He smelled the scent of Dick's blood vitality. For a corpse like him, it was no different from the deadliest poison, which made him crazy. He couldn't wait to tear Dick's throat apart right now. 80 Chapter 80 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luddy, the former rookie king. State. Assimilated by Satan and became his envoy. Blood vitality. 2000, energy. 800, strength. 400, defense. 300, agility. 200. Talent. Viper. Skill. Dark erosion. The explosive rate. 0. The information provided by the eyes of God made Dick gasp. He had never expected that the first Satan envoy he met in this dark castle was the former Rookie King. Although he had become a corpse now and no one could tell his level, the strong dark aura around him showed his strong fighting ability. Luddy, you used to be the Rookie King, didn't you? I believe that you would make the same choice when your partner is in danger, Dick asked tentatively. He wanted to know if the former Rookie King still had a human conscience. However, after hearing Dick's words, Muddy turned his head in confusion. He rubbed his ears with his hands and said with his eyes twisted. Luddy. Are you calling me? And what is the Rookie King? Why haven't I heard of it? I'm Satan Envoy. Don't try to shake my mind with these words. Luddy pointed at Dick with a withered finger. Black smoke gushed out from his fingers and came to Dick in an instant. A colorful viper materialized from the black smoke and bit Dick's throat. Dick waved the moonlight machete and divided the viper into two. He sighed. It seemed that after being manipulated by Satan, these former human beings had lost their humanity and became the killing envoy who only listened to Satan. He had just dodged the attack of a viper. As he turned around, he saw hundreds of colorful giant snakes gathering on the ground. It seemed that the attack Lely had just received was from these giant snakes. At this moment, Luddy's body became somewhat illusory. It was might because the vipers had left him, which made his body look more like a skeleton. You must be afraid of the darkness. Just die in the darkness. Satan is very happy to see you join. Luddy raised his arms as if he was chanting the gods. His rotten face was devout and proud so that the killing intent hidden in his words was somewhat noble. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in your Satan. I'm not here to be his servant. I'm here to free you from this endless torture. Dick's body slowly appeared in the embrace of the vipers. The LV-4 robe that Edward gave him gave off a dazzling halo. The light of purification made these vipers transformed from darkness not dare to approach Dick's body. Purification. Damn it. How could you have this ability? Luddy roared, puffing out a cloud of black smoke from his mouth and attached it to Dick in an instant. Dark erosion. Dick couldn't be more familiar with this kind of talent, but now it had lost its original effect on him. He raised his hand gently as if patting off the dust on his clothes, patting away the dark erosion of Luddy. To his astonishment, Dick gave him a perfect smile. Dark erosion. Is this the favor given by Satan? Or is it a curse to you? Since you like your Satan so much, I will let you feel his embrace again. The same black fog came out from Dick's hand, but the dark erosion he made was more violent than that of Luddy. Luddy didn't even have much space for escaping, then he was covered by the dark erosion. No. That's impossible. How could you do that? Satan won't bless you. I'm a citizen of him. It's just dark erosion. How can you hurt me? Ah! Luddy shouted hysterically. He thought he was a citizen of Satan, so he wouldn't be affected by the dark erosion. But to his surprise, he found that the darkness in Dick's hand was not the same as his. His dark body began to collapse under the effect of the dark erosion. His blood vitality and energy were dropping crazily, which made his soul seem to fly out of his body. Master Satan. No. He is going to be defeated, but he gave us grace and gave us eternal life. No, it shouldn't be like this. Our world. Our home. There seemed to be two personalities tearing apart in Luddy's mind. He was mad. He was sad. As if he was fighting with himself, completely losing his arrogance just now. No, our home was given by Satan. The real intruder in front of us is supposed to be destroyed. Yes, it must be like this. You can go to hell. At last, Luddy roared with all his strength. It seemed that the manipulated personality in his mind had the upper hand. As Luddy waved his hands, the colorful vipers on the ground seemed to have been injected with a shot of stimulant. They were no longer afraid of the light of purification. They bit Dick hard and injected venom into Dick's body desperately. Ha ha. That's right. You must die under the sharp teeth of the vipers. Ha ha, here is the thing. Go to hell. It seemed that Luddy had lost all his strength. He knelt on the ground with his mouth wide open. He wanted to laugh, but there were tears in his rotten eyes. No, I won't die. You are the one who should die. Or you should have died long ago. The sudden light in front of him made Luddy raise his head. He was surprised to find that Dick was right in front of him. The vipers surrounding Dick were nowhere to be found, and the light in front of him was from the moonlight machete in Dick's hand. Why did you? Dick interrupted him before he could say anything. Satan is the devil who destroyed your village. Or you have heard of his other name. The Sky Envoy. You have already been destroyed. Your soul is just a tool controlled by Satan. I'm here to free you. I'll kill Satan and free your souls. Dick said slowly, cutting the moonlight machete into his neck. Just go. It's not just your soul. I'll evolve into hundreds of millions of souls that are imprisoned by this dark castle. This place will become a new home. Dick's machete finally cut off his neck. There was a flash of gratitude and relief in Luddy's eyes. Although he couldn't say anything, his eyes had shown everything. Before he died, he was no longer the Satan envoy, but a rookie king named Luddy.